Recording in progress.
Excellent.
Can you grab one for me?
Good evening, everybody, and
Oh, I would love one.
welcome
Thank
to
you.
the Yarmouth Select Board meeting of September 23rd,
Thank you very much.
2025.
I love checking
We're
things
going
off.
to start with executive session, and I will read the motion. After this motion's read and we vote to go into an executive session, we will come back into public session, hopefully at approximately 6 p.m. So the Yarmouth Select Board will consider entering into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A6, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property pertaining to Pump Station 2 if the chair declares that it, open meeting, may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body, of which I so declare.
Second.
Can somebody make the motion? I just read it.
So moved.
Okay, and a second. Thank you very much. Roll call vote.
Forrest votes aye.
McGurran, aye.
Flynn, aye.
Aye. Liz, Argo.
I vote aye. We are now in executive session to return to public session after. Thank you very much. Jim. How are you?
Good evening.
Select Board.
Getting an invitation. Amazing kid. There's some stories about that. Yes. All right. Good evening, everybody. And we are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're going to start with announcements. Does anybody on the board have any announcements? Liz?
No, ma'am.
Joyce?
I'm good.
Bob, you have any announcements?
No announcements tonight.
Okay, we're moving. Hope this is an indication.
Prelude.
All right, we're going to move on to public comments. I see Christopher on Zoom.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much. The agenda reflects new members of the Yarmouth Police Department, so I want to hurry through this and welcome to them and all the best. First, thank you to the board for successfully installing the four-way stop at Station Avenue and Wood Road. You jumped through numerous hoops with the state bureaucracy to do so, and it is appreciated. That will save or prevent a lot of accidents. On Thursday evening, September 25th at 6 p.m., the Yarmouth Zoning Board should deny the proposed high-density laundry apartment building permit, which is located on Route 28 and Pine Grove Road in South Yarmouth for the following reasons. First, the plan is too densely populated. It calls for three separate three-story buildings with 27 rental units built on a 1-acre lot. Does this fit the planning board's vision of Route 28? Earlier this year, an architectural firm explained to the planning board that Yarmouth has strict regulations regarding third floor or three-floor buildings. It should be sloped like an attic from the street so it doesn't look like a third floor. From the plans that are posted publicly, it's hard to tell, but that's something to consider. The agenda for the zoning board shows that the developer is requesting a number of waivers, but parking, the plan calls for insufficient parking for 27 rental units. Yarmouth's parking regulations follow a minimum number of parking spaces based on the number of units, and the developers request a waiver to this restriction. Common sense shows the plan clearly does not provide enough parking for 27 units. The current vacant one-story laundromat building takes up about half the acre property, and the parking lot currently has about 20 painted parking spaces. It's impossible to see how it will have even at least 27 spaces for the proposed units. Given this limited requested parking waiver request, tenants as well as visiting family and friends will be forced to park on Pine Grove Road in the adjacent residential neighborhood where parking restrictions don't currently exist. The tenants and guests, especially during the winter months and holiday season, will also be tempted to park in the lots of several seasonal businesses that are closed for the winter, like Dairy Queen and Sports World across the street. Third, the proposed apartment complex will create a dangerous intersection at Route 28 and Pine Grove Road for the traffic and pedestrian crossings. The proposed complex only has one entrance and exit, and that is on Pine Grove Road. Yarmouth motels and entertainment businesses on Route 28 from Seaview Avenue to the Pancake Man intersection attract tourists in the summer, and heavy traffic is experienced, as well as pedestrian traffic. The Massachusetts Department of Transportation recently notified the board earlier this year, this board, that it will not be widening Route 28 as part of its upcoming renovation project, other than including a bike lane and a sidewalk on the south side of Route 28. It has no authority to widen it. DOT also doesn't appear to plan to add any traffic lights or pedestrian crossings between the traffic light at Pancake Man and all the way about a mile away at South Sea Avenue in West Yarmouth. There are no breaks in traffic. Anyone who drives on Route 28 in Yarmouth knows it is impossible to turn left at Pine Grove, Seaview, any of the roads that enter the neighborhood to the south of 28. It just becomes very dangerous. And just imagine you have the only entrance and exit on Pine Grove Road. So if people are leaving the community to turn left or right on 28, people coming out of this development, this complex, are going to have a hard time turning left. They will be tempted to turn right and cut through the neighborhood, which the neighborhood roads are not prepared to take that type of traffic.
Chris, if you could just conclude as quickly as
I'll wrap
possible.
it up. Thank you so much. This is not an opposition to housing development, and it's an opposition to poorly planned housing development. The Yarmouth Commons, just down the street 10 years ago, was originally planned to be twice the size that it currently is, but it was reduced, and it looks fine. It's well maintained, and it's doing a good job. Granting this building permit will open the floodgates to more of these high-density apartment complexes on Route 28, which is poor planning for Yarmouth's future. Hopefully, Mr. Rittenauer will provide an update at the end of the meeting about this in his town administrator's update, and also provide the select board's position. I appreciate the time. Thank you so much, and welcome to the new police officers.
Thank you very much for your comments. I hope you bring those comments to the planning board at that meeting as well. As many people in the public know, that this is a 40B project. Thank you for your thanks about the intersection improvements. That was due to the hard work of our DPW staff together with the police department, and we're very grateful for that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Tom? Can you bring Tom in, please?
Maybe he doesn't know he's up.
Hey.
Howdy.
Hi, Tom.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, tonight on your agenda, I happen to notice that you're going to be discussing this so-called transfer fee. I don't know how you look at it, but you could dress it up any way, which way you want to do, even put lipstick on it. It's a tax. It's definitely a tax. The way it's written, either by the seller or by the buyer. One thing I'd like to bring to the board's attention when you're discussing this, and that's our U.S. Constitution. Our country is a republic. It's a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy, as a lot of people say. We are a constitutional republic, and a constitution is the law of the land. And in the Constitution, there is the 14th Amendment, which breaks down what they call the Equal Protection Clause. The Equal Protection Clause covers taxes. And I'll quote this: "The tax laws must apply equally to all individuals and cannot discriminate against any certain group or classes of people." The so-called transfer fee is discriminatory. It's based on $1 million or $2 million homes. It is not based on all homes from the bottom up. I would question whether or not this will be legal at all. Whether or not the state attorney general could approve of something like this. This has to be researched a lot more. As I said, it is discriminatory and nothing more than a tax being described as a fee. And if it goes to town meeting, I will oppose this at town meeting as a new tax. All right? So with that, I will let you go and continue with your meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Jim?
Good evening, folks, Madam President. I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank the community for the outpouring of support and effort that went into the Decade of Remembrance, the legacy of Will Donovan, a United States Marine, who was awarded 2 Purple Hearts. And we brought together a group to simply right a wrong. As we all recall, some vandalism happened throughout the summer. It was a beautiful day, and the reason I'm here is to thank the community, and in particular, Bob, your office, Mary, helped us secure some use of property permits. Scott Gilmore from Bayberry Hills Golf Course, they supported us with riding and parking and all of those kinds of things. Although he was assisted with Dennis Hoy. Chief Enrique Esquio, he brought Tower Ladder 41, and if you saw the media accounts of that, the United States flag, Old Glory, was flying amazingly. If you get a chance, Google Channel 5, they had a great piece on it. Assistant DPW Director Roby Whitehouse as well, all worked together. And Chief Kevin Lennon and the members of the Yarmouth Police Department were as well. Actually, Kevin stood a traffic post on Saturday to ensure that we were all safe. It was pretty.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Just simply this, if you think about the amount of moving parts that took for this event to go through and the planning and the execution, there were a lot of moving parts, a lot of outsiders and visitors to our community. We had some guests as well. U.S. Ambassador Alan Leventhal was there and he spoke. He was a donor of replacing the flags. And under the radar, some may not be aware, retired Commandant of the United States Marine Corps, General Joseph Dunford, made an appearance. Joe was also the retired chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And it was great to see him. He had met Will at one point in Will's career and in his career and exchanged a challenge coin. And if you were there, you understood that I probably shouldn't have recognized him because he was under the radar and as a Navy guy. I'm going to have to do push-ups after the event was over.
Wait, you're a Navy guy. You know how to do push-ups?
No, ma'am, I do not. After the event was over, the general came up and said it was an excellent ceremony. And he said, yes, there will be push-ups at a time and location of his choosing. But again, just simply, you know, as a resident of Yarmouth and as the executive director of the Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach, we shined extremely well on a very, very profound stage. And I spoke with the Donovan family, and particularly his mom this morning again. She's still awestruck over what we were able to accomplish and the pain that they endured earlier in the summer. Hopefully we simply erased some of that. So again, thank you all, and thank you, Chief, men and women of the police department, the fire department, and all our town agencies. Well done. Thank you.
Jim, thank you. Thank you for bringing the honor that Will Dapper is what we call him. He was a friend. We used to ride motorcycles together. We would run together. He was a remarkable young man. And the honor that you brought to him, I apologize that I wasn't able to be there. I was out of town, but it was so truly deserving of him and everything that you did. So I want to thank you personally for bringing that together and rededicating the bridge the way that it should be.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else from the public that would like to speak? Seeing nobody, we are going to move forward to our next item. And Chief Lennon is here to introduce our new personnel. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. And there is video of me directing traffic.
Surprised you're
was
still
with,
not taking a
I
few
was with
days off from
Officer
that.
Cruz, he was my field training officer for the first 10 minutes, and then I was cut free to direct traffic. He didn't let me go too far, but I was able to do it. So first, we're going to introduce Officer Farias. Jason, if you can just step up. It is my honor to formally introduce Officer Jason Farias this evening. Jason is a proud graduate of the first recruit class of the East Falmouth Academy. He successfully completed the 6-month, 800-hour training program. After graduation, he successfully completed our 13-week rigorous internal program. He is now assigned to the midnight to 8 shift, and he has already begun serving his community with professionalism and dedication. Prior to his appointment with the police department, Jason worked for the United States Postal Service for 6 years. Beyond his professional responsibilities, he remains very attached to our community. He is a football coach and does that when he's not working. So please take this opportunity to congratulate Jason with me on his appointment as a Yarmouth police officer.
Congratulations. Welcome. Stay safe out there. Thank you.
Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you for choosing Yarmouth.
Welcome, Jason.
Jason was sworn in by Mayor Mazowski a couple weeks ago. And next, I'm going to introduce our newest dispatcher, Megan Foisey.
Yay. Hi.
It is my honor to introduce dispatcher Megan Foisey this evening. Megan started with the police department in July. She has successfully completed the 56 hours of 911 training that she needed, and she's in week 10 of our 16-week in-house training program. Megan is on track to assume solo desk assignments in early November, and she's doing an excellent job. Prior to joining the police department, Megan worked in the baking industry. Megan has consistently displayed the tact, composure, and professionalism necessary to excel in the very demanding job as a public safety dispatcher. So please take this opportunity with me and congratulate Megan for being one of our professional dispatchers.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you for picking Yarmouth.
Welcome, thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Welcome. Don't let him stress you out.
Nice to meet you.
It's a very stressful job.
It is.
That is all I have.
Thank you,
Thank
Chief.
you. And thank you. As always, you have your brothers and sisters behind you supporting you, so that's wonderful. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night.
Thank you.
You as well.
Be safe. Thank you.
Drive safely.
All right. Moving on to our 6:30 agenda item is the vote authorizing an authorization for the town administrator to file for an SRF application, which is the state revolving funds application for wells 10 and 11 for the PFAS treatment program. And I'm sure Jeff is here tonight to talk about that, right? Or Bob, are you taking it?
Well, this is also pursuant to an article for the authorization of these funds that is proposed for the November town meeting. And we need to get in the application under the SRF program, obviously, to get the financing to do so. And the deadline is fast approaching. So the request is to have the board approve our authority to file that SRF. And, you know, we've done this so many times before. I think you know the drill at this point.
Do we have a document here that needs to be signed, or we're authorizing the vote? The motion is to authorize you to sign on our behalf?
Yes, and it is pursuant to, there's a certifying statement.
Anybody have that?
I have it right here.
I think it was.
It's okay.
Okay. Okay, so I will need a motion from the board to approve the certifying statement for the authority to file. This hereby certified the select board of the town of Yarmouth at the meeting noticed and conducted in accordance with all applicable legal requirements, duly vote to authorize the town administrator to act on behalf of the applicant as its agent in filing applications for, executing agreements regarding, and performing any and all actions necessary to secure for the applicant such a grant and/or loans for planning construction for water pollution abatement projects or drinking water projects as may be made available to the applicant pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Clean Waters Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 21, Section 27 through 33E inclusive, as amended, the Water Pollution Abatement Revolving Loan Program, which is pertaining to the project here of wells 10 and 11, a seasonal PFAS treatment system. And we certify that Robert L. Whitnauer Jr. is the present incumbent of the position referenced above, and hereby certify that the attached resolution is a true and correct copy of the resolution as finally adopted at town meeting by the governing authority held on the 23rd day of September 2025, and duly recorded in my office, and said meeting was duly convened and held, all aspects in accordance with the law, and to the extent required by law, due and proper notice of such meeting was given, and legal quorum was present throughout the meeting, and a legally sufficient number of members of the governing body voted in proper manner, and for the adoption of said resolution and other requirements proceedings under the law incident to the proper adoption or passage of said resolution, including publication if required, have been duly fulfilled, carried out, or otherwise observed, and I am authorized to execute the certificate. If the impression of a seal has been affixed below, it constitutes the official seal of the applicant, and this certificate is hereby executed under official seal, but no seal has been affixed. The applicant does not have an official seal. Do you need more?
No, that's,
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes unanimously.
How about a hold out till we get a shiny seal?
I'm sure he has the seal. I know the town has the seal, so. Okay, so that vote has happened, and we authorize Bob to sign that on our behalf.
use Mary's seal.
Okay,
She's the keeper.
I like it. Our 645 item is disposition of real property related to Lake Road, map 49, parcel 103, and Christine Petrillo.
And I just want to give you a little bit of a background. Christine, as the original petitioner, is here, but this really is an application. I'm going to bring you back. This was originally filed, I think, around 2019 to 2020 timeframe, in with the town had a property disposition process that it went through along with a committee to review various requests. And we had one that because of the property owner became ill, was approved previously, but was never consummated until the last town meeting. And while we were going through the process of taking care of that previous item that was out there, I think Christina made a statement at the town meeting that she had an application that was filed in that same timeframe and never received a response as well. And we promised her at that town meeting that we would, I would meet with her, research her original request, and look at the process and then make some type of recommendation just to address it. It was all, done in good faith at the time. And so what you have in front of you is a fairly detailed packet of information with respect to the original application, again, that was filed. This one was the second filing of it in 2021. And it is, the property is located at 14 Lake Road. It is 0.15 acres. So it's a very small, so we call it those remainder lots. It has an assessed value of $10,300. It's located map 49, lot 103. The lot itself dates back to the 1920s. It's actually a part of the original Swan Lake Shores subdivision. And there's such a detailed history of that. I think maybe some of the complications associated with the lot may have led it to not being addressed at the time that the committee was acting. But I did quite a bit of research on the property, and I also involved all of our town departments in reviewing this request and making a couple of determinations. First and foremost, was there any possible municipal use for this property? And the answer to that is no, there's no municipal use that we have. The property was acquired as a tax taking, and I think it was more or less abandoned by the previous property owners due to its lack of buildability. And so that it became an issue. The town had acquired it and had it for quite some time. It is shown, I think, very clearly on the second page of your packet that shows it's sandwiched between other single-family homes. And the feedback from, and the property cards here, there's a lot of detail on the lot, and the feedback from all of our departments, no department had a use, and all of the departments were comfortable in surplusing this property. And the town planning department, I want to thank, Kathy Williams, they really gave it a close look, as well as Mark Grills. Both of them really educated me on the whole history of this. This has been in the building department, subject to various controversies, one or another, over the past 70 years. So the bottom line is that the recommendation that we have is to approve disposing of the parcel, and I'll read from the town planner's email, is, however, to avoid potential issues with neighbors, I would recommend that the lot be sold specifically as a non-buildable lot, and that access to the parcel is not via the 20-foot right-of-way shown on the attached plan. Basically, this makes it valuable to an abutter, and I concur with that recommendation as well. If you look on page 2, you can see the pink lot is identified as that parcel that the town owns, the 49-103, and it is adjacent to the properties on Lake Road that there has been a right-of-way that has been created along the edge of that property that abuts this particular lot. Now, it has been previously opined by the building commissioners before even Mr. Grills that does not provide frontage for this lot. But I think that point needs to be clarified, and the applicant that originally brought it forward, the Petrillos, they indicate that potentially they own the abutting property, and they're very interested in making a bid on this. It would have to be a public bid, that they hope to have potentially an accessory dwelling unit for that parcel, which I think would be appropriate given the town's zoning for accessory dwelling units. I believe that, they're permitted to install an accessory dwelling unit anyways, and this would make it so that they have more site flexibility to do a better job and maybe more screening for the neighbors. So I think that may be positive, but the one thing what we don't want to see is that this lot become a separate subdivided single-family home that would be sold separately, that may be an imposition on the neighborhood. So the recommendation is to declare the property surplus and to start the process to dispose of that, based on limiting it so that this lot is not a buildable lot as a separate single-family home, as was recommended by the departments that reviewed it. So I'm available for whatever questions that you may have, and I thank Christina for coming as well, that she can answer any questions that you have about her application.
Okay. Mark?
I have no questions.
Dorcas?
No questions.
No questions.
It's very clear.
Take a motion.
Good work. I move that we allow, well, do you want to dispose of the real property, Lake Road, map 49, parcel 103?
Second.
Does that do it?
No.
Didn't think so.
It's half of it. So I guess we could have a discussion whether or not we agree with the recommendations about the
The frontage and the buildable?
buildability, but I think that needs to be
In it, yes, okay.
part of the motion. So if you amend your motion to,
Well, I could
to
amend
go with
it
the recommendations of the planner.
according to the recommendations of the planner.
Okay. Does that
Second again.
suffice?
Yes, that's perfect.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect.
Thanks, and I just want to say that also the process from here is we have to initiate the competitive process, that, we do the RFPs, and then we take it, like the last one, bring it to town meeting for approval. So it's hoped we can wrap that all up for the spring town meeting.
Excellent.
And
Great.
thank you, Chris, and thanks for your patience with us. It only took
70 years?
70 years.
so that we call it another legacy item. We find them, clean them up.
Okay. Yes, thank you for bringing that to our attention. And okay, next we are going to discuss the transfer fee petition that Mr. Sullivan was speaking of. There's also in your packet, or at your place, there was a
comparison.
comparison. I'm not sure where this came from.
It says right on the office of the town administrator. We were working with the Senator Sears' office, and when he met with the board, he discussed submitting some materials. And I want to say the material that he submitted was tremendously helpful, especially there's a guide for how to put these together that includes the different sections. And then when we looked at, I took a look at the comparative, the proposals from some of the other towns, and he sent 3 of them. One was from Nantucket, one was from Provincetown, and one was from Chatham, and they're all very similar. And
Are these in place or
they're
proposals
proposed.
still?
They're all proposed
Okay.
at this point. I don't think anyone has actually been
Okay.
completely approved. And it's interesting, I will point out that an interesting thing that I learned, if you take a look at the legislative history on some of them, they were voted at town meeting. They were submitted to the legislature. They expired. They went back to town meeting. They reauthorized them.
This is similar to the expansion of the rooms tax that we had for hotels when, this is similar to the same.
So one of them's on its 3rd round. So they don't sail through. And what I wanted to do for you, if I could give any value to the process, I just went in and checked all of the towns on the Cape. Because I know Falmouth tends to be a sister city for Yarmouth for some reason. Demographically, population-wise, we're very similar, different sides of the Cape, and I knew they were involved in this, and plus a couple of the smaller towns like Wellfleet and Eastham. So I put together just a handy chart that took some of the key elements as a comparison and shows, instead of just the 3 towns, 6 towns, what the amounts of the transfer fee were, and it's interesting. They're all different. It's amazing. Some of them is, just the amount over a certain dollar amount. Some is for all, some is for just residential properties, some is for all properties. And then another interesting thing, who is liable to make the payment? Is the payment made by the seller? Is the payment made by the buyer? That's a key consideration, and that's something you need to give a little thought to. And I noticed a couple of them had sunsets. And I thought that was an interesting thing that you should be aware of. And also, the other thing I thought was very interesting is the beneficiary of the transfer fee, that most of them are for affordable housing funds and affordable housing trust funds. But I thought it was very interesting that Wellfleet included the first $50,000 every year goes to the Capital Stabilization Fund. And I also noticed in Eastham, the beneficiary is the Affordable Housing Trust and/or the Wastewater Stabilization Fund, as determined, it says, from time to time by the Select Board. So I thought having those other cases in just rounded out the comparison of what other communities are doing. And I know there's a lot of discussion as to whether this is great for Yarmouth, but I thought by having all the information there, you can kind of get a snapshot of what's going on around you.
I appreciate it. Mark, is it possible you could give a little bit of update about what's going on with this related to the county? It's implicit, isn't it, somewhat, the
Well,
conversation?
Yes, the county assembly of delegates, they are holding meetings and hearings to come up with a plan. They don't have a plan. They've been asking people to come to their meetings to make suggestions for what they should do. So they're sort of in a process of trying to sort this out. The feedback that and this is solely being done by the Assembly of Delegates, this is not being advanced by the the county commissioners. I mean, from my perspective, the legislature's shown no interest in supporting any of these proposals. And so, to me, the question's going to be, you know, what's changed? You know, what, you know, I know Nantucket is making a hard case, the Vineyard is making a hard case. Obviously, the discussions are quite interesting, but I think politically, the realtors have dug in, and other groups that oppose this have dug in. So I just think that politically, it's going to be very, very difficult. So at the county level, I think the thinking is that they may be able to offer something or do something that might be unique or might be special, that might somehow convince the legislature to give this idea more consideration. So we'll just have to see. I have no idea what they're going to come up with or where they're going to go. I've been asking the Assembly to put out in writing at least a draft plan, but they have yet to do that. So I don't know how constructive any of their meetings are going to be and how that's going to proceed. But people have been asking me, can you send me a copy of the county proposal? And I keep telling them, call your delegate to the Assembly, because the commissioners have been given nothing.
When was didn't they have a meeting this week?
They have meetings, you know, almost every other week. Last week they had a Zoom meeting with some of the legislators, who basically said, listen, you know, I mean, they're already on record as supporting a housing transfer tax, and you know, they basically expressed interest in whatever the county eventually, the Assembly might come up with. The way the county charter works is, and it's different in this regard than a municipality, there's going to be a home rule petition, you know, let's say Yarmouth acts on its own. The process we would use is to, as Bob had mentioned, you present a home rule petition to town meeting, including the text of the legislation. Town meeting takes action on that, should they approve it. And again, it's before it gets to the town meeting warrant, there'll be discussion with the select board. So there is a process that all towns go through. At the county, the Assembly can basically act unilaterally. They don't have to work with the commissioners. They can just come up with a proposal on their own and unilaterally file something with the legislature. So it's interesting to see, you know, what they come up with and what steps they might take with it. I think for us, I happen to agree with Tom Sullivan. I think we should have a study, you know, assemble a committee, assemble a group, and have them take a look at all the various options and hand to us, you know, their recommendations, particularly the folks that have been dealing with affordable housing issues in the town. To me, there's so many different proposals floating around, you know, my head's spinning, you know, and there are different provisions, different exemptions, different, as Bob had mentioned, some proposals, the burden's on the buyer, and some proposals, the burden's on the seller. So, you know, I don't know if it's incumbent on us to have a meeting and us sort this out and figure out whether or not we want to go forward with anything, but I do think I would be very interested in having a committee assembled that can look at this and prepare some recommendations for us to consider. You know, how and when we do that, you know, I'm open for discussion on it, but I think right now with everything else going on, I think it would eat up a lot of time on our part, and I like the idea of a committee meeting, convening, and taking input from the community in terms of whether or not they think it's a good idea and how it would be constructed, because I'm sure there's a diversity of opinion in the town, and it would be great to create a process that gives everyone a chance to weigh in and provide some input. And I think we've been pretty good at that with a lot of the other challenging stuff that we've been dealing with. You know, having committees meet and engage the public, and get a lot of discussion and dialogue. Whether it's dealing with plastics, dealing with what to do with the Mattakees, you know, middle school, or you know, countless other projects. Having committees look at them, study them, and then analyze them, pros and cons, impacts, things like that. I think all of that can be very helpful. And we've got a number of committees in town wrestling with affordable housing, right? And some of them, that's specifically their charge. We have a community housing committee, we have the Affordable Housing Trust, we've got, you know, probably other groups that I haven't mentioned. You maybe, I think that's the direction that I'd prefer to go in. So I agree with Tom Sullivan. It's something that we should, commission some study and some analysis, on the whole topic.
I really agree with Mark. I think we need to hear the public's input on this. I think that's critical. There are just so many different ways that you could go on this. I'd rather have a thoughtful process put in place with a lot of public input that then comes back to us with a proposal, so.
Joyce?
I'd like to see a thoughtful process that would wrap itself up before annual town meeting. I would just observe, it seems that some of these questions are legal questions, so we couldn't probably assume that a given committee would have the legal expertise. So is there a way to give them access to an attorney or to town council to get help on this?
Yeah, we can advise and use town council to ask questions, answer questions. We do that all the time with the various committees. It just flows through me, any legal
Okay.
questions.
But I would lean toward being in favor of some kind of luxury transfer fee.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was, I'm very surprised that that Senator Sears' office and the other proponents are allowing as many variables in this as they are. I think that's going to be a huge stumbling block. I don't see how the legislature could possibly embrace this with that many variables. So I think that committee, for instance, one of its first tasks would be to work with Senator Sears' office and find out why they are going forward with it, allowing that,
Because they're home rule petitions,
And
so
indeed,
it comes
but
from each community is telling them what they want, which, why would we want to, not to, jump in, but, I mean, I would never be in favor of allowing somebody else to tell us what our town wants to do. I mean, I would rather it come from us, and that's what's happening here. These communities have maybe been
Indeed.
through a process or not.
But I'm hoping that it sounds like it's just too wide of the variables. So when Senator Sear presented on this last meeting, he did, for instance, say Chatham was his champion. If he was going to recommend which one we would look at, he would recommend we look at Chatham. I'm not recommending that we follow anybody else's example. I wouldn't mind from somebody who has a hand in this. And he certainly does have a hand in it, his office does, and he was noting that he encourages the Assembly of Delegates to have their version, because what he's hoping is that the more pressure, the more PR there is for this, the more that the hope is that the legislature will embrace it. But I don't understand how the legislature could with this many options. I would also note that I thought Tom Sullivan's point was bang on. It is discriminatory. And that's another question, that should we have a committee, I would like to see this committee tackle. I noticed that East Hammond, is that a typo, Bob, or is it really 3% on all sales down at the bottom?
Yeah,
Had
In your
awful
chart?
water crises, so.
there is.
So that's could be an answer to what Tom was concerned about, that you can't be discriminatory, so 3% on all sales. Those are the kinds of questions I think a committee, I'm in concert with you all. Committee would be great. I would model it very much on the Plastics Committee, which I thought was able to take an action that's going forward in very many communities across the Cape and the country, and came up with our version that took all of the best parts and brought it forward for Yarmouth. So I think that's the way to go.
And I noticed that the Chatham example it gets around something that Tracy brought up last time, which is, do you even say that 1 million anymore is a luxury home, given inflation? So, I mean, they don't even start till 2 million.
I think the hardest part for the legislature is the mechanism of which collecting and distributing the funds are. So when I first looked at this, I thought about the Water Protection Collaborative and how that is a structure, and it's set up by DOR, there was a lot to it. They collect the funds and then they distribute directly to municipalities. I don't know how any of these individually would have that mechanism of collection through the Registry of Deeds and how it gets back to the town. I'm always, I'm never in favor of new taxes, obviously, but, I get concerned when we talk about, I like home rule petitions because it is specific to our community and what we want and what our people in our town vote for. And when you have things like the water collaborative, the things that are county, sometimes there becomes a structure where it goes into a pot and,
Yes.
it's not a one for one. Our transfer, our rooms tax isn't dollar for dollar back to
Right.
us. And
Could be overhead, it could be, yeah.
you know what I mean? So when you get into these structures, the closer it is to the municipality, the better it is. So I think personally, that's probably the holdup, which, and the legality issue aside, personally, I wouldn't be in favor of it, but I do think that we should look at it and come up with the pros and cons, and ultimately, it's up to the people to decide if this is something that they want to do.
Is there any deadline? I know, anything that we got out of Senator Sears' office that is compelling us, pushing
I
us?
think he wants it on everybody's town meeting because he's trying to make a political point, as you said. He's trying to push the legislature. But, we watched this before with the expansion of the motel tax. The realtors got involved. Sarah Peak had probably filed the bills, I don't know how many times before she was successful. It was many, many years. Many home rule petitions were passed in different towns that went nowhere. So it's not uncommon for that to happen. I wouldn't think that this is a panacea of funds that will be anytime soon coming to us, but certainly we should.
Down the road.
So I don't know if we want to make a charge for a potential committee to review. I'd love to see, a lawyer, a realtor.
Balance to it, yeah. And I think we should go at it with the idea that something's going to be presented to the voters so that it should lay out pros and cons and issues and potential impacts.
Yeah.
I guess my recommendation would be is that we direct or authorize the town administrator to prepare a draft committee charge
Yeah.
that we can discuss and deliberate on at a future meeting, and I would encourage my colleagues on the board to provide any input to Bob in terms of how they think the committee should be structured. I'm with Tracy. I think balance is important, because I think that's the only way any credible proposal is going to go anywhere. And the way I approach it is ultimately this is a decision for the people, right? This is a town meeting and potentially a ballot question that ultimately they have to decide. And so I think I would approach it in that vein where there's as broad-based input and feedback as possible.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this, the options are, as, has already been stated, very broad. There's one town that's residential only, and I think that is, to me, that is something I would support, only because we are having, we do not have a strong commercial base.
That's right.
And we have to look at, as Mark has already mentioned, the detriments of this fee and what that could mean to somebody.
Yep.
And, I wouldn't want to put a hardship on anybody. I mean, obviously, affordable housing is getting, housing is harder and harder to obtain every single day. It's really.
As our sewers.
It's a luxury. So, and that's the other thing, having a conversation about what it's even for and needed, is a
Whole
whole nother
nother-
conversation, and I don't know if we want to put that to a subcommittee or if, but there's a lot to it, and again, I don't think that it's going to happen anytime soon. Even if we bring it to town meeting, it's probably going to go through 3 or 4 sessions before there's a mechanism, I think, available, unless we can, come up with some type of, I don't even know, it would have to be a very specific legislation to outline how the Registry of Deeds collects that fee, gets it to the town, is it paid directly to the town? I mean, how would you manage that?
Right, there's some, in the examples, there's some detailed language, and I think Chatham, which along with Nantucket, they're both very similar, I think had a lot of thought on the detail in terms of the mechanics of how the funds are transferred and requiring it be paid, and so in the packet, if you look through those ones I thought were the most detailed, and they also have a very detailed list of exemptions.
Yeah.
And
saw
I
some of
think it's
those.
very interesting to look at those as well.
Great. I think that's a great thing for a committee to sift through, very detailed. So,
It's really how we approached it with the Plastics Committee, and it was
all right, so Mark has made a motion to ask,
charge the
Develop a charge.
is there a second to that motion?
second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, Joyce, you are up.
Okay.
Again. We are gonna.
I'm starting to feel like the star of this show, but
You are the
I'm
star of the
trying
show.
not to let it go to my head. You've seen all this before, except the top half of page 2 has some changes. The very first sentence on page 2 is attempting to even out an inadvertent suggestion in the last version that the normal thing would be for a committee chair and a quorum of the committee to have a meeting and weigh in on the selection process and so forth. This, with putting in the unlikely event, the committee chair won't feel that's necessary, but it's all provided for if committee chair wants it. The other thing that's a change is in the paragraph after that. We had a situation where a chair got in touch with myself and with Pam Barnes with the names, emails, and telephone numbers of 2 people and said, please put these on the committee. And we go, whoa. So that's why this next paragraph here says, interviews will be scheduled only after the town talent bank form is received. Because it seemed that, I wouldn't have thought that needed to be explicit, but it seemed, a week ago that it was.
There you go. I think this is a great version. I'm ready to move that we accept
Is there any discussion on it at all?
committee policy.
Anybody has any comments?
Just my thanks to Joyce for the hard work.
The thing is, it's so great. Computers, you edit, you change. If I were typing each of these each time, I would die.
Yes, indeed.
Mark, you have any comments?
No.
Okay, is there a motion?
Move to accept the committee policy as provided by Joyce Flynn.
Second,
Any discussion? All those in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Nay. But that's no reflection of your work.
There you go.
No, we made progress. Okay, I'm gonna change my vote. I'll support that.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We
Tracy.
did make progress on it.
And I promise if any other things come up that ought to be included, I'll come back.
Well, you'll have to. I think that what you found in the last week is gonna probably be the case throughout. Your things always come up but that's why they're policies. We'll put them back on and we'll amend them as needed, so.
Sounds
Thank you for your
good.
work on that. Okay, you're still up. Board and committee actions.
Oh, yes. Okay.
You're still the star.
Well, actually, our volunteers are the star in this part.
That's true.
We'd like to, let's see, I guess I move that we accept with thanks the resignation of Joshua Maderos from the Recreation Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd like to only note that, having worked for many years with Josh, I thank him greatly for his work, and I'm sorry that we're going to lose him.
Okay.
I guess he's moving out of town. There's not much we can do.
I hope it wasn't because we overworked him on the Recreation.
It's probably that transfer tax that.
Yeah, just the threat of it.
Okay, I'd like to move the nomination of Barbara Lavoine and Frank Zapula. Barbara Lavoine for Golf Enterprise Committee to be appointed to the rest of an unexpired term through April 27, and Mr. Zapula for a 3-year appointment expiring 4/28.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Then Recreation Commission reappointments. Since we have one member here, first of all, the Recreation Commission's oldest serving member, Debbie Clark, appointed for 1 year through July of 2026. Steve Szanski, the current chair, appointed for a 3-year appointment through July 2028. Paul Degnan, 3-year appointment through July 2028. And Denise Galvin, who just came on board in the last year after the open house, 3-year appointment ending July 2028. And what we're doing with Denise is, sorry?
Don't forget Alan Harrison.
Oh, right, sorry, next line. And Alan Harrison, 3-year appointment ending 2028, July 2028. What we're doing with the Denise Galvin appointment is moving her up to regular member because she's a public health nurse, and that seems like a really good idea for Recreation Commission.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Second.
and Do we have a,
You seconded?
oh,
Good.
okay. Do we have any discussion?
Just that this Debbie Clark person, glad she's on.
She sure is.
Well, I was going to ask about that. Why was Debbie only 1 year and the others 3?
Oh, that's because we're adding Denise the nurse in and giving her the longer term. But yours is renewable and renewable and renewable. But we wanted to pin her down and not have her go to a different committee from Recreation, because I think that's really where we need the public health nurse.
Can I ask a question? How many members, isn't there 7 members on this committee and they're all going to expire at the same time? That's a very bizarre scenario. I mean, usually they're,
1, 2,
they're,
3,
what do you
just
call it,
4.
staggered.
This is just
Yeah.
4 of them here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But Debbie's, well.
Debbie's
true.
1 year, and remember, Josh just left.
Okay, I think that.
Good question.
I don't know if we've had so many resignations, but they should be staggered, so that way, when we bring on new people, we still have some, it should be like 2 years, so like our board, we have 2, 2, and 1 each year, so that way we're not flipping a whole,
Board.
yeah, but anyway, that's just,
Okay, I'll keep an eye.
okay.
And,
We voted on that?
No, we did
No.
not.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Ta-da.
Thank you, Joyce.
So the Recreation Commission goes forward. It has its oldest serving member in the back, whom we thank. It has a public health nurse, and it has sports people, so we're good.
And we're keeping Debbie.
We are.
All right, perfect. Minutes. We have the minutes of October 29th and the minutes of October 10th, 2024.
No, October 29th and December 10th.
December 10th, 2024.
Move that we accept the minutes for October 29th, 2024.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? December 10th, is there a motion?
Move that we accept the minutes for December 10th, 2024.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
May I ask where new business is?
it's not on here.
I know. Should it be? I'm
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Well, I was looking at the resolution about the freedom, justice, and equality.
Okay.
Where did that come? Wasn't that in our packet?
That was a piece of material that was requested be just placed as an informational item in the next Select Board packet.
So in the next one, it'll be on the agenda?
No, it was placed
Information.
in this agenda packet for informational purposes.
Oh, I see. So do we get this, well, when do we handle this?
You can talk about whatever you want on individual items.
Okay, so
All
I'll
right.
hold off.
So let's talk about upcoming agenda review. We have, today is the 23rd. Our next meeting is October 7th. We have a change of ownership for Paradise Wine and Spirits, a hearing for Ryan Family Amusement for the ownership, presentation of the planning board articles, an update with police and fire chiefs on our dispatch regionalization project, a tentative vote to approve the election warrant for Old Kings Highway.
And ours, right? Or is
No.
it just the election warrant?
No, it's just for the Old Kings Highway.
Okay.
And a building committee update, which I'm very much looking forward to, because I have some comments on the library that I'd like to express. Vote on a budget policy. The budget policy usually comes out, that'll be what, will that be, usually it's December, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, don't start with me. So we're doing this whole thing, we're revamping everything. Improvements are coming in
That's
by the
fresh.
boatloads. And so,
Improvements?
oh, yeah, well, the whole budget process, we're elongating to allow the additional discussion, public outreach, and all of the different steps. We're just rethinking everything to improve it. And Jen Mullen, our finance director, has been really awesome on it. So we're going through it in a fine-tooth comb. And so we decided to start the budget process a little earlier. So what that does is it moves the budget policy from November into October.
Okay.
So I think it's great.
Kind of
And
throw me off. Oof, okay. All right, we're,
Can I just ask a question on October 7th, very briefly? The Article 97 issues with the library property, that the property across the street, will we have the resolution of that next week?
yes, I think we're pretty well resolved that at this point that the research continues, but the material that we've developed already to date would indicate in the opinion of council that they haven't really formalized it, but I've discussed it with them. That it appears that the library site we gave them are those two particular lots. One of them is the quote-unquote Simpkins Field, which is the 9-acre that is the field that was laid out and protected as the Sears Playground in 1931. And so the idea is that is protected under the Article 97. And that leaves the secondary parcel, which is similar in size, that is, I guess you'd say, to the east directly of that has on it the MacArthur School Building and undeveloped property around it would be available. And that's what the committee's working on, that site. And so they hope to make a presentation to the board. And they're also examining the MacArthur building itself. And so they'll have some preliminary
They are?
recommendations.
oh, good. That was what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
So when are they coming before us to
Next
brief
week.
us?
October 7th.
October 7th.
Next meeting.
October 7th.
Yeah, so not be able to do a public meeting ahead of,
Well, before we vote on any application or any submission, I want to make sure that we have scheduled a public hearing on their proposals. I don't feel comfortable as a board with us acting on anything that's being recommended without the public having a chance to weigh in. So we need to find a place. I'm just want to get that out there so that I'm not sure what the date is. I'm not sure when they're making a submission. But I feel very strongly there needs to be a public hearing. There's a lot of public interest and in what they're thinking about, and some of the plans of generating a lot of talk in the community, most of it negative. So I think we as a board need to hear from the community on their recommendations and what they're
Pretty
doing.
sure, and I'm speaking out of school, but I'm pretty sure that they have a December deadline for the grant.
Well, all I'm saying is
Yeah, I
we're,
know.
they may have a deadline, but we ultimately are the ones that sign off on a submission.
which is why I would recommend that we really should postpone them to November 4th and give them an opportunity to have a public meeting ahead of that.
I think the way I would like to see it is I would like to have a discussion with them on October 7th. I would like to express my concerns and
And they can also come
and
back.
I would also like to see the options, because right now I don't know if we have enough information or options to have a public meeting that would be, and I would hope that we would have a joint public meeting with them sometime, maybe shortly after October 7th.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, I think that you should meet with them on October 7th. I think that they're developing a wealth of information.
Right.
And I think that they look, you know, to this board for guidance, and I think it would be very beneficial. And if we meet again on November 4, I think to get everyone together and review the status and have that in the public, I think it would be great, and it may address a lot of people's, you know, concerns as well.
Yeah, sounds good.
I
So
know
how
that
many how many meetings are we talking about now? I want to make sure that there's a public hearing and that the public can weigh in.
Two
So-
select board and one public, sounds like.
No, I would think that the public hearing would be would be a joint meeting with them, I would hope, here.
That would be my recommendation, that they come in, they make a presentation, they make it so that folks in the community can weigh in and speak to whatever options are being.
On the 7th,
No.
No,
I
on the
think-
4th.
on the 4th.
No, I think what I'm hearing is the chair, Tracy, is suggesting that we get with them quickly.
We should express, I think we should have the opportunity to express and have a conversation
Yeah.
with them first and see what the options are. And have them be able to compile information for a public meeting shortly thereafter.
Well, that's why I'm suggesting actually that, yes, we meet with them on the 7th, but that their public meeting be actually held here
Yes.
on November 4th.
Or they can do one separate and with us, but I think it's important that we have some public process. We need to hear from the public. That's our,
It's our job, yeah, before anything is submitted anywhere, I want to make sure that there's,
Right. So-
on our schedule, a public hearing. Can I at least get some consensus on that? Is there an agreement to
agree.
that?
Oh, I think we all.
Okay, well, that's good. So now we just have to figure out when we do that.
For me personally, I think that the idea of having the public meeting as part of our meeting on November 4th is important. It is showing people, you know, this isn't going to be just another public meeting of the library committee, but this is, you know, like the Board of Selectmen wants, not only does the library committee want to hear what you have to say, but the board wants to hear what you have to say.
Well, that's the hearing that I'm talking
Way,
about.
yeah.
The hearing that I'm talking about is, they make a presentation, they lay out what their recommendations are, what their options are for this submission. We need to be briefed on what this submission is, because it's a little bit unclear to me. I know there's a submission of some kind of application or some information to the Board of Library Commissioners, and then then there's some decisions on that. I think that, to me, I think that's appropriate material for a public hearing, and then the chair would invite the public to speak on any and all of the options and proposals and any other recommendations that they want to provide. You know, the last time I was going through my records, you know, the last time we got this far, we only had one select board member in favor of the final recommendations of the library building committee. All right? I mean,
that's why I think it's important to go forward and express our personal concerns on the
I agree.
7th. Give them time to react to that and come back, whether it's November 4th, I guess it would have to probably be November 4th, or a date we can set together
Yeah.
with them on October 7th, to have the public process.
Is part of their submission that they have approval at the town meeting?
Well, what they're doing right now, just you gotta, don't conflate everything, is that right now, we've been approved to conduct a feasibility study. The feasibility study is being done right now. So they need to meet with the select board, get some guidance, share options. Then they finish their feasibility study, and in January, that's submitted to the state. And on their timeline, they would also need to take the results of that in order to be, and I'm just saying, in order to be eligible for the grant, which is probably $8 million worth of the projected $24 million cost of a new library, they would need from that timeline to approve the funding for that at the April town meeting. So
Okay.
Right now, we're just doing the feasibility study, but in order to, to meet the state's requirements, we have to get our act together and be ready to move in the spring. So if we're not, I mean, those decisions all need to be made.
One of the things I would like is an update on the Bridgewater State. I would like an update on the building overall, if we could have that, or even if it's in our packet, information on what that process is, or what the status of that is before we meet with the library committee, because I think as part of the feasibility study, the retrofit of that building has got to be something that's considered. And I don't see them, I don't know if they're working on it, but that is something that I think that is an option that the public needs to consider.
Yes, they're working on a technical review of the building, and so that building is going to be a key kind of decision point.
But there has been some discussion that for this particular grant, it has to be a new construction.
I understand that.
We know
but-
that
but if
that
you're
would
looking-
mean no grant.
Right,
But if
right,
you're
so that
looking
they
at a-
still should look at it from the perspective of no grant and
I
doing a
think so,
retrofit. Yeah,
because if you can retrofit it for $8 million
What I brought
and
up
you're
to
gonna
them.
try to build a new building for 17 million, I mean.
Absolutely.
I wanna know.
absolutely. As I did express to them,
Yeah,
yep.
okay, good. Well, I'm glad that's happening, but I think we should still get an
Right.
update on Bridgewater, as I had sent an email to Bob, their website says it's closed, no longer at this location, so.
Didn't they move to either Sandwich or Mashpee?
That's the information that they're putting out, is that they want to set up shop in another Cape community. For folks that might be watching, yeah, Bridgewater State has a number of satellite locations. They expressed interest in Yarmouth in having a satellite location here. And we were thrilled with that idea, the idea of having a satellite college campus right here in our own backyard. But obviously, the use and their commitment has changed. They've basically sublet it to the Cape Cod Collaborative, and we've signed off on that. And as everyone knows, the deal is that the rent they pay is $1 a year. And the Cape Cod Collaborative, I don't know how that's going or what's happening over there, but it's clear Bridgewater State has, now, when that arrangement with the Collaborative was made, Bridgewater still always kept the door open, to maybe doing something with us in the future. But if you read some of the material that's floating around the town of Sandwich, Bridgewater State's talking about a relationship with the town of Sandwich and their senior center and doing coursework there. So obviously, something's changed. They have, it seems like, no interest. As Tracy said, their website says the Yarmouth campus is closed.
I wish I would have heard that from them, though. I mean, it's kind of bizarre that we haven't heard from them.
I would
at all,
agree. I think
so.
in the past, what's been great about the relationship is they've been very open and very candid with us and explaining what their plans are, where they're going, and what they're doing. But it seems like, it's sort of like a bait and switch. And again, I have nothing negative about the Cape Cod Collaborative. They do a wonderful job. It's a wonderful program, and I'm glad they're getting some use out of it. But I think we had sort of bigger ambitions and bigger hopes and dreams for that facility. That's why I like the chair. I look at that as an ideal site for a future South Yarmouth Library. And that's the main reason why I supported looking at this area, from the very beginning, because I thought having a library on a common would be an ideal thing for the town. And if there are aspects of the building that need to be repaired or fixed or improved upon, that I'd like to know what the costs are to do that. But this is kind of reminds me of deja vu all over again with the 2004 project. All of a sudden, the architects took over, and then before you knew it, we were no longer looking at renovating or trying to do something with the old library, the old South Yarmouth Library. We were looking at building something brand new, but in a location that people were not particularly thrilled with. So my hope is that we don't end up going down the same, history's not repeating itself. And I, too, am concerned that there's not enough consideration given for the MacArthur building. That lease is coming up. And again, I think we should be doing something big and something more significant that serves the community with that building. Again, I got nothing negative to say about Cape Cod Collaborative, but I'd be more than happy to work with them on finding a new site in the future. Hopefully we can make this particular site work. So That's, and the other thing that I'm interested in, just to feed into this conversation, I think it would be helpful for the board to get some kind of briefing from council or somebody on the Article 97 aspect of this. And I'm okay if that waits until December when they're done, but, we went through this once before on the drive-in site, and that wasn't necessarily a complete, that had its problems. And we had another special counsel come in to kind of render a more thorough assessment, and we learned from that assessment that there were uses of the site that were not particularly consistent with Article 97. So I think the concerns have been raised, and I think we need to do really extensive due diligence on this, because I don't want a repeat of what happened with the drive-in site, where the assessment of Article 97 uses was inadequate to begin with, and we were allowing some uses and some considerations that were totally inappropriate. So,
Madam Chair, could I also suggest that in addition to Bridgewater, we should have information on Cape Cod Child Development then? On what exactly are they doing?
The collaborative.
The collaborative, I'm sorry. What are they doing on the property? So it'd be a comprehensive look at what's
They
going
have
on.
a new executive director I've met with recently, and they're dying to meet with the select board. They're very excited about what they've been doing there. They've put well over $2 million into that building. They've made major investments, and so they've got a lot of programming going, and they've been anxious to, we've sort of been holding them off while this process is ongoing, but,
The collaborative have put $2 million into it, or?
Yes.
Bridgewater?
no, Bridgewater hasn't put anything into it.
Okay.
They
collaborative
signed the
has.
lease, and then they did the sublease to the Cape Cod Collaborative, and they haven't held any college courses, but the Collaborative has upgraded the whole, heating system, and they've got all of their programs in there.
And the collaborative there's a strong benefit there for a lot of our families. I mean, there's a strong benefit even for our transportation funding to not have to take those students and.
Well, the Collaborative's very important, and as I think Mark stated it, the best, if they move out, we're gonna have to try to find another place for them. We benefit financially tremendously from that, because what is a consortium of all of the school committees on Cape Cod that provides special education services that previous to this required off-Cape placements, and some of those placements are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they can provide those services on the Cape. So there is a value. It's a great program, so as I say, they're anxious to.
I agree. So I think we need to get an update on both of those, Bridgewater and the collaborative, and be thinking about that building and where, I didn't know that they had invested $2 million in that, but I don't think I was here when we did the sublease. Perhaps we did, but it's always been my frustration that they didn't bring the programmatic changes that they had committed to. But when they first came, they also invested millions in doing upgrades with that building. But I think we need to look at it. We need to look at it holistically. Maybe we set aside a meeting to just talk about possibilities. But in any event, if we could, get some of that information before October 7th or close by then, that would be helpful.
And I think the big piece is I've asked them to, the whole, library committee team and their OPM and the designer to initiate, we've launched a major structural analysis of that building to determine exactly what you have to do to it to turn it into a library, so we know we have that information, and you can use it as, that's important data to develop a usage plan, because it's, it's gonna smart losing the grant, but if it turned out to be more practical, at least it's a way forward. But we need to get all of the data together and.
Yeah.
Great. Perfect. So we're all set with October 7th.
It's gonna be a busy night.
It will be a busy
And the
night.
21st is very busy also. I almost wish we could maybe take something and put it on the 4th. It's just, we're gonna be, it's good to be busy,
What's the pesticide forum? Who asked for that? 'Cause
Okay.
We didn't ask for it.
No, and, you know, we could put the pesticide forum off. The whole pesticide forum was, I mean, that was a request from the petitioners, Laura Kelly, and she's trying to work Cape-wide pesticide ban. And she met already with the Board of Health, but the Board of Health declined to recommend it. And she's asked to be on the select board. And I, you know, researched this with some of the departments that have been to these meetings previously with her, and they're quite alarmed, and they've asked, they don't want to have just the petitioner in to talk to the select board, that they wanted to have a more balanced forum that provides what, you know, their reality is.
Yeah.
So that's why, where the idea, and I have to take responsibility for that. I wanted to avoid just having a one-sided thing, so we came up with the idea of a forum. Now, it doesn't have to be held on the 21st. I put out a couple of dates we could put it off, but I know that she's anxious to do it, and.
Is their plan, Bob, to have something for the fall town meeting? Is that
No,
it?
the fall town meeting's out, but they'd probably like to do it for the spring town meeting. I don't know, the feasibility of that, but that's what the request was, is
Yeah.
to.
I would recommend if we could put that off until after town meeting. I think that would be very helpful. It
Maybe that
seems like there-
December 2?
Yeah, I put,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't have anything currently on
or even in
December 2nd.
January. When do we have to have the warrant together for don't we have to have it for the Springtown meeting, start it in January?
We're gonna, on
Oh, yes.
October 21st, we're gonna execute the warrant.
For the,
But then-
For the
but
next
then
year?
for the-
No.
For November.
For
No, I'm
November.
talking- I'm talking about the
He's
the
right, the
warrant for the
spring one,
spring.
we pulled that together in January, and now,
Yeah.
now that we've got the budget policy done, you watch, that's all gonna be moved up too.
Yeah, it'll be moved up.
Flies by.
Well,
Okay,
Yeah.
anything else on upcoming agenda?
Yeah, I'd like to suggest for something for January, put at the bottom, and that would be to review the town's water conservation policies, measures, enforcement.
That's a good idea.
I've been getting a lot.
I asked a few months ago, I got crickets. It's weird, but go ahead.
No, I've been getting a lot.
Go ahead, I'll pretend.
I've been getting a lot of.
Was this your idea, Tracy?
No.
I've been getting a lot of constituent inquiries concerned about how that's all working, and so now's not. I mean, as much as there's interest in going over it now, I just think with everything else on our plate, I just don't think we can fit it in now. I think we have to look at it after town meeting and in the January timeframe. But to kind of look at, getting an assess. There's a perspective in the community that people are not being conserving enough. All right, and I'll just leave it at that. And that more needs to be done to entice our residents to conserve water during the drought, with the drought restrictions. And so,
And we had the fees review too, that floats in January that we
Yep.
had decided
I
last
understand.
year.
So I think it might be helpful to allow the public to come in and vent and express their concerns, and I think we should be getting an update in terms of how things are working or not working, from the perspective of our own folks and the community. So I'd put that in the January timeframe.
I have something else to talk about and on the agenda.
Okay,
Hit it?
hit it.
All right. So the Energy Committee has sent us a letter asking that their quorum challenge be helped by reducing the numbers from 7 to 5. And I know Joyce has very specific concerns about that, but I think we have to take some action and either let them know that they have to stick with 7 or allow them to go to 5.
As of yesterday, when we were interviewing candidates for the Energy Committee, Mike Duffy had changed it to a request to have the quorum made, to have the membership made 5 to 7, which seems easier.
Okay.
But,
From 7
so
to
he's
5?
changed that. No,
A
he
range.
pictures like a range, 5-7.
I don't think you can do that.
What? I'm confused.
Yeah, a range. If they get 5, they can have 5, but if they get 2 more who want to join, their charter would allow them to have 7.
Their charter allows them to have 7 now. He already asked for it to be reduced, so I'm confused.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he wants a range.
Me as well.
What's the difference? It's a quorum, the quorum, it's not the quorum. So he's having a hard time getting 4 members?
Well, until these interviews, yeah.
All right, so we'll.
But then he was saying specifically, well, and he's convinced that there's another town committee that has this arrangement, but I don't know what it is. That they are a committee of 5 to 7 members.
Is it an ad hoc committee or are they in the bylaw?
I don't know, I mean, I'm not concerned, because it's not a legislative,
regulatory or
it's not a
anything, yeah.
regulatory or legislative type of committee that has to act on applicants or anything, so I'm not sure if it's holding up his business, but I mean.
Claims it is.
He's in Seattle now, and in December, January, and February, he's going to be in Maui.
I mean, we
But
work
he
with-
does it long distance,
We
so.
work with 5 members. I feel like 3 members is a quorum. You don't feel strongly that that's enough,
Oh,
so.
because their whole thing is to do public events and have speakers and stuff, and that's a lot of people to do all the arranging. That's not enough people to do all the arranging.
But if that's what they're asking for, I mean,
But he did just change it to, he wanted a range, so.
I don't think we can do a range. If there's a committee that
I
has
guess there's a
one,
committee that has it,
he
but
needs
I've
to
never
bring
heard
that
of it.
forward. Okay.
so with a range, you would also have to amend the quorum. So if there's 5,
Oh, sure.
The
You'd have to
quorum would be
amend
3, so-
according to whatever membership you had.
so why don't we just allow for the 5 with the 3? And if they want alternates, then to do the work, we could do a 5-member with 2 alternates.
I guess.
I don't know, I'm
Energy's
just.
never had alternates, but I guess they could.
I think that would solve his problem. I think that would solve.
I don't know how the board feels about it.
I'm not sure anything will solve all problems, but yes.
This is true. But
All right,
But we have found some people who are interested. They're not engineers, they're not specialists, and we're interviewing those, so. And Mike and I interviewed yesterday, we will see.
how do we go about changing it?
well, he made a recommendation, so, I mean, it would be, we'd have to put
Agenda
it on
item
an
and-
agenda
yeah.
item,
Would
but,
we like to put that on the agenda?
well, I would leave that to Joyce and the committee chair to come up with if that needs to come before us or be put on the agenda for us to act on it. I would-
Because you sent a letter, that's why I have it here. But
Oh,
now
yeah,
it sounds like
always,
it's
yeah.
gotten complicated, so I'm.
I don't think it's gotten complicated. I think she's just waiting it out and hoping to fill the spots.
We've got those members, but also the
Everything
chair
always gets
just changed his
complicated.
mind, so
Okay,
I would probably not put it on the next agenda.
Very good.
Okay, well, we'll wait and see.
Wait
We're
till we
here
hear
when you're
back.
ready.
Okay.
Okay.
And you know I will never let bad things happen to Energy Committee, you know that.
I do know that. You have a special little place tucked away right here in your show. All right, anything else on this?
Nope.
Okay, good. Great.
Move that we accept the consent agenda.
What about individual items?
That's what we were just doing.
We were doing upcoming
Oh,
agenda
that was agenda review.
Individual
Okay.
items.
Sorry
I
to
had
drag
asked-
this out,
Hold
Dorcas,
on.
but yeah.
All right, we're all set with agenda review.
make the end of this meeting
Individual
really
items.
painful.
Mark,
And I have none. I'm done.
And I'm just trying to figure out if we're gonna, if we are paying any attention to this resolution and care about it, or it was in our package, it's the Barnstable Town Council hereby affirms a commitment to the value of freedom, justice, and equality. Are we interested in bringing this forward?
I'm not, but it's up to the board. I just feel like this has been brought to us before, and I just feel like I don't feel like is there an issue that you know of? Is there any issue here with somebody not being treated
I think this is in the
equally?
light of ICE, I believe is why this is coming back to us again.
I guess it's a feel-good thing. If y'all want to do that and spend your time, then that's
I
great.
don't have
think-
a feeling either
personally-
way.
I personally think that it's, on the surface, I affirm, yes, freedom and justice and equality for all. I think we all stand for that. I mean, I don't know. It's just, to me,
I would hope we do.
of course we do. I mean, you got to vote on it, whatever. If it makes you feel good, go ahead.
Well, is it, I don't even know.
We could affirm that those are good things for this specific town, because our powers go no further.
That's it, whatever. What does the board want to do? You want an agenda item, or? All right,
It's a crunchy feel-good.
I don't feel it personally.
if somebody came to me and they were not treated fairly or equally by something that we had control over, I would certainly act upon it. I think that it's within our due diligence as members to do so.
Nobody's
I have
come
not
forward.
heard that from anybody. That's just me.
I think it's more like an affirmation that we treat people well here.
We do treat people well here.
But I mean, it's a kind of feel-good affirmation, I think.
All right, any other individual items? Consent agenda.
I move that we accept the consent
Second.
agenda.
Any discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Bob, it's all yours. The show's yours.
All right, thank
Rose has
you.
to give up her.
I really have to hand it to Mr. Gearin. He's quite the mind reader in quoting. I did not discuss my report with him, but I need tonight to just make sure the board is zoned in on, we have received, and I know you've seen the materials from just emails and things, a Chapter 40B affordable housing application for that dry cleaner parcel. It's something we've all been participating in the last, I think, 3 years with this. They had an eligibility letter on a previous project that I personally question as to whether that's valid, because it was a different project at a different time, and you need an eligibility
yeah.
letter. It was commercial, it was just totally configured differently. But suffice to say, the issue that we have today is that the 40B proposal is very challenging for the community. And we've been reviewing this with, it's been through our site plan review. We have a very detailed site plan review process. The planning board has reviewed it. The Community Housing Committee has reviewed it. And we have it set up for September 29 for the Affordable Housing Trust to review it as well. And the challenges from this 40B is that all of these folks in town, and I've been to several of these meetings, we've reviewed this in high detail. There are problems with this application in terms of, number one, traffic issues. Number two, the density is much higher than we allow, much higher than our other 40B projects. It's not in character with anything in our community. The parking is insufficient. The buffers to adjacent properties, other residential properties, are completely insufficient. And the architecture is terrible. It just couldn't be worse, I think, in terms of having any attempt to try to fit this on Cape Cod. We feel it's problematic for many respects. Now, Thursday starts the Zoning Board of Appeals. They're going to open the hearing. They're not going to make a decision. What I would like to do is we've got all of those boards I mentioned before have some detailed comments that they're submitting. I would like to have the Select Board weigh in on some detailed comments as well that at least reference all of those issues that I just sort of outlined. And I think that would mirror what the site plan review and the planning board has been getting at. Now, the Zoning Board of Appeals has a tough road to hoe. It's very difficult. So far, I can say in the initial meetings that we've had, the developer has not been cooperative towards the comments that are being made. And I don't know how we're going to get, their attention, but we're also, as I say, going to be working with the Affordable Housing Trust to talk about possible options, that how can this project, if it can't be stopped, be shaped in a way that it's not negative toward the community. I mean, we know we certainly need the units. We need more units, but you can't have these development patterns that are inconsistent with our values and our community vision. And so I want to involve the Select Board to have you folks go on record. I want to work with the Affordable Housing Trust to try to invent some options, come back and include you in that process. And just mostly tonight, let you know all of this discussion is ongoing. We want to make the Select Board key participants in it. By your next meeting, hopefully I'll have had a chance to meet with the Affordable Housing Trust, and we'll be able to have a more targeted type of correspondence that I would ask the board to consider. And
Well, while you're talking about this, would it be, I think it would be helpful for our board. I don't think has anybody seen any of the plans or descriptions of this project? If you could help circulate to the board, Bob?
I will. I know that
to
there's
us?
been some stuff out there, but in addition, I've got plans, but we can get another.
Have you seen the drawings?
We got
saw one.
what was submitted.
I've just
Liz?
had conversations with Kathy,
But
and
Liz
I
hasn't
haven't
seen
seen
anything.
anything.
Okay, well, we've got a tremendous amount of material, and at our last meeting that we held another one, I think it was last Friday. I've taken all the material. We have it in one easy place we can share it with you. And in addition, I can share with you the results of that site plan reviews, the
That'd be great.
detailed targeted comments.
Are you recommending we come to your office to review this stuff?
I can send it out to you.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
I can email it. We have it it's all electronic, it's all prepared, and it's all assembled. It's ready to share, and also, I think when we have this discussion with the Affordable Housing Trust, that'll be a very important discussion, so I just wanted to highlight that. And then I'd like to kind of work with the Housing Trust to come back into the Select Board and see what they say on some, recommendations for comments. But you can certainly see the planning
I'm sorry,
board.
but can I interrupt for just a minute? Didn't we already send in to the state a detailed assessment by the town of our concerns from all the different boards about this particular site?
Well,
Wasn't there something
yes.
that went?
And this is kind of part of the problem, is that when we had the Mass Housing came down, they're the ones that issue the site eligibility letter, which you required to have before you file for a 40B. They submitted an application for a project that was much different, and we had, if you recall, we all went on the site visit. We had detailed comments that we provided. Now, of course, Mass Housing, they say, yeah, thank you for your comments, and they approve the eligibility. And if they want to do that again, I think they should do it again, but we should have the ability, in my view, to make comments on this proposal
Right.
back to Mass Housing, because this one's much worse than the first one.
Right.
And we had concerns on the first one.
Right.
And so we have even more concerns now, and we want to provide those to the Zoning Board of Appeals. That's the local board that gets tasked with this process, but I've asked for an opportunity to provide those comments to Mass Housing as well. And I feel that they should stop their whole process until they get a new site eligibility letter. However, I fear you could pick up the phone and call Mass Housing and say, that eligibility letter that you gave us before, I need you to update it, and they'd probably do it. But I don't think they should without another site visit and a hearing, just like we did before. So that's another angle I'm working on, but I don't know if that's really going to stop them in their tracks, so.
What about reaching out to Julian Sears' office? He's, and Kip Diggs, they're in the housing.
I think right now the smartest thing that we can do is get all our committees to review this, to scrutinize it, to get their comments together. I agree with everything that Bob has said tonight. The project is going backwards.
Yeah, no,
Right.
I agree.
They came in to us before, we gave them a lot of input. They tried to work with that, then they disappeared for a while. Now they've come back with something that's just atrocious.
What number of units triggers the commission?
That, I would have to check. I don't know exactly.
Is it have we referred it to them, or?
I think with a 40B, I don't think that the commission reviews those, but.
Well, can't we ask? Isn't that part of our ability, is to ask the commission to weigh in? Yeah, I guess it has to be of a certain size, but we do have the ability to ask.
For housing, I want to say.
I don't think you're going to find them having the ability to do it, but certainly worth asking and doing some due diligence.
It's just a very small parcel.
It is.
That's the problem.
It's very dense.
It's jammed in on 1 acre.
Jeez.
I thought the public comment tonight was very apt when he said there are only 20 parking spaces there, and they're proposing 27 units.
7 units.
But what the
On an
public
acre.
needs to understand in a 40B project, the 40B is a state permit that allows them the exemption and to, they can have a friendly 40B and work with the town, but a lot of times that this stuff is shoved down our throat, and that's what the public should understand, is this isn't, something that somebody who's working with us to create a better project. I mean, they did this because, I'm not sure why, I'm sure they're gonna get more density through the state project than they would through us, but, we've had success in the past, and this is one of the reasons why we always try to achieve our affordability, percentage that the state requires, because where are we at, in terms of the last project went online? Typically, if we put so many online, we are exempt from 40B projects for X amount of time, so are we not in a window right now from any of our previous projects?
No, I don't think we've met the percentage to make us,
I know we haven't had a percentage, but if you add, there's a criteria, like if you add X amount, you get a stay.
Oh, I don't know about
And
that.
it's within so many years, so I don't know when our last project came online, but it seems like we've added enough that we should, it's not that we're not doing our part to add.
So it's, if you do some in a certain time period, then you get a stay.
something I can double check, but
I
like
would
I said,
like-
I've got the housing people planning, everyone's in this
Yeah.
up to their elbows, so we can get an answer on that.
I'd like to know.
Toot sweet,
I love that word.
Right.
Toot sweet.
you don't get to use it that often, but it was a
It's a
good,
robust expression.
There you go. So on that note, I want to recommend that people, when they're in Dennisport, 626 Dennisport, Route 28 or 626 Main Street, Dennisport, there's a very dense, attractive housing project, which has got mixed use. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and so
26.
what I'm saying is that there are other communities developing attractive, high-density, mixed-use projects, and that's one that I've spent some time taking a look at. It's very well done, even just driving by and taking it in. But it would be nice to have some sensitivity to our issues, the need for mixed use and the need for good design. And this particular project is well designed. It looks nice. It fits. That's what we want. We want an attractive Route 28 corridor
Absolutely.
with development that fits within the
You
community.
can almost go back to our discussions that I can't talk about earlier this evening. We're trying to have a vision for Route 28 that is going to make us
Yeah.
proud.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't,
excuse me, I'm sorry.
in earlier versions of this project, the developers were committed to that. Something's changed, and we'll certainly try to find out what's going on.
So we can expect a letter for our next agenda to be able to add that to our agenda review
Yes.
for October 7th to consider voting on. When is it submitted? When is the public hearing?
Public hearing starts this week, but it's
It's
gonna
open.
it's gonna be ongoing, yes.
Okay.
So just a couple of other quick items, and for informational purposes, I was with our capital program committee last evening, and the review is ongoing for our new capital improvement program. And it's kind of interesting, Bill was kind of my go-to guy on working with the committee, and it's almost, you try to get a situation where it's so difficult to replace, Bill on some of these things. We're going overkill. So it was great last night that the finance director, I was there. We had the IT folks there. We had the Jay Grandy, our projects manager, that suffice to say that, I've had, there's a lot of issues and concerns about our long-term financial planning, capital planning, which is really moving ahead pretty well. And so we look forward very much to having a capital improvement program that is complete, addresses everything. It's not going to include a printing press for money, but I think it's designed to lay out the needs of the community in a strategic fashion that we're able to make some serious decisions on. So the committee is going full guns on it, and the staff participation, it's a comprehensive effort. So we're looking forward very much, and we're mindful when we come in with some recommendations and we present those to the select board and to the finance committee and ultimately town meeting, it's time to start lining up all of these projects and seeing where they fit in, how we're gonna get things done, what the timing is. And so that process is ongoing now, and we have it in the calendar already to, at the appropriate time, meet with the select board, have the public hearings, make the presentations. So we're moving ahead with that, and I just wanted to also salute our wastewater team. We had a great meeting today for, it was our comprehensive wastewater meeting, and it was in the morning, but I want to say that that was strategic. It was requested by the business community to have it at that time so that they could participate more fully, and we had this room full of representatives from the business community, from the chamber, and even local residents as well. But in addition, we took advantage of, I want to really thank the select board, and I think it was at your last meeting, made the suggestion, as we continue to prepare this outreach information, to take a step back, right? Climb back up the ladder and, remind folks, present strongly to the community, why are we doing this project in the first place? What are the issues we're confronting? What's the nature, the character, the timing? What are the phases? Go back to square one. And so we put together the agenda in a fashion, and Jeff's team with Laurie Rosala and Ryan Chase did a great job and with our communications team, we worked up the content to present it in pieces, so that we essentially made 3 videos from this one meeting that will be showing this meeting over and over on the local access channel so people can get the full boat of it. But we made a separate presentation on all of the background material, the why, the how, the pictures of the eutrophication in the waters and the algae blooms and everything. And that's going to be a standalone video that we're going to show over and over. And then there was a detailed review of all of the work that we've done to date, contracts 1, contracts 2, contract 3, contract 4, what needs to be done. And those are almost all completed. And, we've been through hell as a community in terms of, the whole construction process, but we've made a tremendous, you'd be surprised the progress that we've made when you show it up there. And so that's another separate video. And then the third video, they did a very detailed review of what's going to happen in contract 5, what people can expect, the communications improvements, and they've been meeting with every person along the line individually now. So it's a much different approach even now than we've taken for the initial contract. So that went very well, I thought, and it's a good start. And we're still partnering strongly with the chamber to get the word out there, and trying to figure out how to make sure that, in addition to all of the social media and the website and everything, there's got to be a way to get text messages out to, residents and business owners that opt into a program, that on a daily basis, did something change? Boom, you can get a text message. Go to this, and then you'll see this change that you need to look at, and those types of ideas. And so,
I like it.
it's some progress. I just want you to know, people's ears are open, and the select board has spoken, sort of loudly, in terms of improving all of the communications on this wastewater project, involving people, and the team that's out there. We meet about these things, and we're making an effort, and there's still a long way to go, but we're going to keep hitting it. And it's good to see if we can pick up this, progress on contract 5 and roll that into 6. Boy, that'd be a nice breath when we can get off of Route 28.
Where are we with Rizzoli and the work on, is it Seaside Avenue?
Yeah. Oh, it's awful. First of all, with Rivoli, Rivoli has sued the town.
What's that?
Rivoli has sued the town of Yarmouth.
Huh.
So,
Bad roads.
and we feel they violate their contract on a daily basis. It's really outrageous. And that what they've done out there, flooding, Seaview Avenue and South Shore, it's ridiculous. And I'll tell you, I have the video of it that we put in the hands of the attorneys, and I hope that they show that to the judge in court when, you know, they accuse the town of all of these atrocities, that this company has really ravaged our community. It's just uncanny how terrible that they've been, and we're lucky that we've had such other high-quality contractors like the Robert B. Auer Company, so Rivoli is problematic. They have more work to do down there. We hope to have them done by, you know, the first of the year. And, you know, we can't get them off of our streets fast enough, I can't even tell you. We'll probably be in litigation with them, you know,
Bless you.
for years to come. But I want you to know that we're standing up for the rights of the town as much as possible. But this company's combative. They recently announced in our project meeting that they now refuse to give us a 3-week look ahead. Now, how can we outreach the public and tell everybody what's going to be going on when the contractor refuses to provide a 3-week look ahead? It's just ridiculous. So
That's really
we'll talk more
obnoxious.
offline about this Rivoli, but they are obnoxious.
Careful. We need to be careful with our comments. We're gonna end up
Yeah,
in
we're
court.
gonna end up being sued just for that, but I would say is that, you know, I hope they include in their quotation of me, I just sincerely desire for them to fulfill their obligations to the
Sweet.
town,
Good sweet.
contractual obligations. That's all we're concerned about, is an orderly finishing of the job within the contract.
Yep. Everybody just do their job.
It's on your update, Bob?
No, thank you very much, sorry.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Good evening. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Recording stopped.